think the film really does present a false choice. You had mentioned that earlier. You know, it's this false choice between career and personal life.
Yeah.
And it basically deepens this chasm somehow that women have to, they can't successfully balance personal and professional lives. And that's kind of the message we've been taught. And honestly, men don't face that same double standard. Mainly because they're not, like, it's perfectly fine for a man. Perfectly fine, whatever that means, right? But it's acceptable. It's if you hear, oh, gee, you know, my husband's working late because his boss is on him. He's got to, you know, he's entertaining clients. He's doing this. He's doing that. Like, no one would blink twice at that.
Right.
But all of a sudden now, and you know, it's another scene that I wanted to bring up because it's along the same lines is, you know, what did Andy really do that was so awful to her friends exactly? Like, so she's late one day. I'm thinking of the dinner scene where they're all sitting, you know, she's there to meet them for dinner, right? And she brings a bunch of expensive shit from the magazine, right? From Vogue or whatever it's called. It's on Runway, I guess it's called in the movie, right? And you know, including like an expensive purse that no one can get, like, you know, a Bang & Olufsen phone, which I don't know if our viewers today, I remember that fucking phone. And I remember going into the Sharper Image, you know, store in the mall back in the 90s and seeing this $1,000 phone and being like, oh shit, I wonder what it would be like to have one of these phones, you know? Like, so I actually remember that fucking phone, which is what's so funny. It's so funny about it. Like, I remember that phone. And, but you know, they're all perfectly happy to accept these gifts, right? Oh, got this for you. Oh, love the purse. Oh, give it, you know. And then her boss calls and then they're really dicks to her, like taking her phone, not giving it back to her. Like, that's shitty. Like, yeah, okay, you may not think that this job should be so important, but it is important to Andy. It matters to her. Whether or not it should or not is not for you to fucking decide,
right?
You know, like if you're her friend, you support her. You know, you say, like, and that's what a relationship or any friendship or relationship is. It's like, hey, you know, I get, and you know, you could say, oh, well, I'm not a priority compared to your, you know, well, again though, it's your birthday, dude. Like, we can celebrate that like another day. Like, this is important to my career. This is important to me. I've told you about it. Shit happens. You know, this is what you're getting. And maybe that's part of the problem too, right? They started their relationship before this and now they're moving their you know, Andy's changing.
Yes.
You know, for better or for worse, I don't make that judgment. But she's growing. She's metamorphosizing into someone else. Now, she said, I don't want to be this person, so she left. Which, again, there's no right or wrong to that decision. But, you know, her friends are not terribly supportive of her. Like, they seem very kind of insecure and like, oh, love the benefits of the thing. Like this workplace was not harming Andy. Like, she, again, was choosing this. Like, again, I'm not saying you should or shouldn't choose it. But, like, if somebody does choose it, it just shows important open communication. Like, I feel like when she took this job, it was like, hey, Nate, you know, even that time when he's like, hey, now you've turned in, like, his exact quote, I wrote it down because I thought it was interesting, was like, you know, Nate says something like, oh, I don't care if you're out pole dancing all night, which I want to point out, like, okay, why are we shaming? Like, notice that, like, just to notice that. Not judge it, but, you know, you could be out pole dancing all night, but if you did it with integrity versus becoming like the girls you used to make fun of. Well, okay, she used to make fun of them, but now she doesn't because she's changed her perspective. Like, you know, I used to make off-color jokes. I don't anymore. That doesn't, why? Because that's not who, I understand that it's not, you know, I misjudged. I was in error when I judged these people before. Now, again, and not to say they're who I want to be or who I don't want to be. But, so yeah, I think it's interesting how, again, multiple rewatches show these different little things that come up. I mean, to me, I see there's kind of the two characters to me that are most important to talk about. I think, and we've been kind of going there, but maybe diving deeper into them if you like, what you think. But, you know, Miranda obviously is is larger than life character. Andy, and then to me, I kind of view it as like sort of the other various male characters, including Nate, but other male, you know, gatekeepers as well. Irv, you know, as the power figure, and the you know, Christian Thompson. Like, again, he notice the power structure there. He's a male gatekeeper, right? It's interesting how, how she, how these other male characters, though they're, to me, not main. I wouldn't consider any of the men to be main characters. Like, there's no male lead, I wouldn't say. I mean, maybe you could argue Nate, I guess, sort of, but I don't think so. I feel like the male side is an ensemble, and the female side is very clearly Andy and Miranda are the two characters. So I don't know. Is there one that it would make sense to start with, especially like focus on a little bit first? Is there one that comes up to you, just to make sure we talk to all of them, because I think
they're maybe let's dive into Miranda. I think that's like just such an obvious like you said, she's an icon in so many ways, and even though she is kind of quote unquote the villain of the movie, it's very much like, well, in pop culture, Miranda's the winner for sure. Like, how many times have I said florals for spring? Groundbreaking. Like, it's just so good. It's so good. And one thing that really stood out to me that I was like, that's a pretty self-aware move for the movie, is when Andy is actually on the date with Christian Thompson, and he's like, well, what do you think about Miranda really? And she was like, well, the thing is, if Miranda was a man, everyone would just talk about how she is a successful business person, period, and like doesn't take bullshit, and that's who they are. But because Miranda's a woman who is divorced and remarried and has daughters and is demanding, like, sure, is she the kindest, nicest person? No. Obviously, we see that throughout the film. But I do think that there is this added expectation, like you were talking about earlier, of women needing to juggle both, and Miranda's character almost being used as showing how, well, if you value career, you can't be a good mom, you can't be a good wife. And it is kind of the impossible obligation of a woman that we've talked about before. But I just absolutely love the scene in Paris where Andy walks in and Miranda's just sitting there, no makeup on. And she's just completely stripped back. And you just see so much of her humanity, right? And I think that's the moment that the audience, it doesn't necessarily fall in love with Miranda, because it's like, how can you not love, her little quips and the power, and even the very first scene where she's walking out of the elevator and she just has this like look and goes, and it's like, ooh, it's just so good. Meryl Streep's amazing, of course.
Oh, she's
just so good. Yeah. But I think that's really the scene that makes her an iconic character, because even throughout, the mask has slipped, but she is still clear about who she is and is still in business mode, right? That she's like, I'm showing you a vulnerable side of me because I need you to rearrange the seating chart and get my publicist on the phone. And it's like, just to see the pressure of being a powerful woman that is, even in this moment of vulnerability, completely stripped bare, second divorce, like being faced with the reality of sacrificing your personal life, like your love life. And I think she even mentions like, oh, and the girls, it's like being a mom, but choosing to make that choice again and again, because that's the choice that Miranda makes, that it's like, that's who she is. And I think to some extent, while I don't agree with the forced dichotomy that's there, to a certain extent, I kind of respect it. I kind of respect that Miranda's like, this is the life that I chose. And when I'm served divorce papers, that means my first thought has to be my publicist. Like, there's just something about it that it's like, it's so heartbreaking, but also like the balls on someone to be able to do that. And like, when Andy's like, we can cancel things, we can whatever. And she's like, no, that's not That's not the life I live. That's not who I am, because I'm more than that, you know? I don't know. I'm not describing that perfectly. But yeah, I think those are some initial thoughts on Miranda.
Yeah, I think I agree completely in terms of I think Miranda highlights the double standard of female leadership, right? Like this, and as you said, the film specifically calls that out. So, enough. And we've all said that. I mean, and in fact, I watched something else I mean, it's a very clear thing. Like, would you say this about a man versus a woman?
Right.
And so, I think that was great. I mean, I think that there is sort of Miranda is sort of stereotyped into this ice queen, right?
Yeah.
She's absolutely brilliant, but personally harsh with no close friends, unstable relationships. She can't keep a man, right? And her multiple divorces, all of that. And I do think it does reinforce that harmful trope that powerful women have to sacrifice. You can't be good, nice, and succeed.